Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the McAuley Tucker Show. I'm your host, McAuley Tucker, and today we have a guest, Anna B. She does music. She's been doing it for a while now. You've been writing music since you were like 11 years old, and you've released a bunch of original songs online. From what I
Yeah.
found out, about 10 roughly. I believe. I think I did a little count. About 10 original songs. There's a few like short ones that are like I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's an original song, but roughly 10. And that's pretty cool. Like you haven't even released any of them like on Spotify or anywhere else, just YouTube.
No, I haven't released any of them, but like during the pandemic, I kind of talked with my team about recording,
Mhm.
and that's kind of where I'm wanting to go is to get into a studio and record
Yeah.
some of those songs and to eventually create just being able to create something before releasing it.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to reach people.
Mhm.
So it's like working on how can you reach people through releasing only one single.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's eventually that's what I want to do is just to get it recorded and like work on the craft of just one song because it's crazy what you have to do for one song.
Yeah,
So,
I get that. Yeah, I've looked into that. You know, releasing slowly but surely a few singles, and then once you have that done, you can take some of the
mm,
singles that you've released, and you can just put down a whole album. But yeah, I get it takes a lot of work. And you've been doing music for a long time, as I said before. Like, you started playing the piano. I'm not sure if that was the first instrument, but that's what I found out. You started playing the piano and fooling around with it when you were younger. Can you kind of tell me like what at a young age got you interested in just music?
I grew up in a musical family, especially my dad and my mom actually went to school playing piano,
Okay.
classical. And so all of my siblings, when we were really young, we all had piano lessons for classical.
Right.
And I thought, oh, I have two older siblings. So I thought, oh, I want to do it at a young age because I thought it was cool. And so I did. But as much as I did enjoy it, it was actually really hard for me to read music. I mean, I got it. It just wasn't fun anymore.
Right.
And then I kind of lost interest because I was doing sports at the time, and I thought, that's where I want to go.
Right.
And then after I quit piano, and then after sports didn't work out, I started playing chords on the piano,
Okay.
and that's I kind of like had this dream of like composing when I was younger.
That's really cool to hear, though. So you said that you kind of took a break from music. Would you say that you studied, music and like music theory, like all that, like the whole thing? Like, did you learn all of it, or would you say that you learned a bit of it? You're not done.
I learned a bit of it, and then I stopped. I did everything through my ear. Like that's how I played piano. I listened,
Right.
and then I learned because so then when I think I was 11 or 12, my parents bought me a ukulele,
Right.
and that's where I learned more of chording.
Okay.
And then from learning, okay, play a G chord, play an E minor chord, how do I do that on piano? Once I figured out the two, that's when I started just creating.
Right. Yeah, and the ukulele, that's one instrument that I've seen a lot of people start with because it's just so easy to learn from my understanding.
Yes.
Around 9 years old, you actually got into the guitar. You got your first guitar, and you would also play around with it with a harmonica as well. I was looking into that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like I've seen a bit of that. I'm like it must be so hard to play the guitar. And I was curious, like, what songs did you learn with that instrument?
I literally, when I had the harmonica and the guitar, I never actually learned any songs. I was so bad. I just played strings and was like thinking I was so cool because
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I actually saw when my dad did a performance, one of the people who were performing as well played the piano and the harmonica at the same time, and
Oh,
that's
wow.
where I was in. Yeah, but I was really young. But that's kind of what I
Mm-hmm.
remember from that.
Yeah.
And so then when my mom, it was the last day of school actually, and I was changing schools.
Okay.
So that was kind of like a big deal when I was younger because I've
Yeah.
always been at this one school. And so at the last day of school, my mom took me out to Long McQuaid.
Okay.
And I remember going into Long McQuaid and looking at what I wanted. And my mom said, you can pick out whatever you want. So this was like a big deal.
Yeah.
And I bought this beautiful black guitar. Now it's like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But
no, yeah.
and I thought, oh, this looks so pretty. And looks so cool. And I'm going to play so many songs to people. I was like, I want this one. And then I got a harmonica with it. And then, yeah, there's even a picture. I don't even know if I could probably find it, but
yeah,
it's a really funny picture of me, like, when I was, like, a kid and in my, like, dress from the last day of school holding a harmonica guitar.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
You know, we all have, like, you know, good beginnings, you know, like, that's a good start. And you mentioned before sports, and that was something that I found out, too. And that was something that was, like, kind of random that I found out. I'm like, oh, that's random. Like, should I even mention that? But yeah, you did sports. You started in hockey, and that was, like, 2013. It was hockey that you started in. And it was like a novice, like, house hockey league. Like, it wasn't anything big. It was, like, a novice house hockey league. And what I found was your team, 7th annual tournament, won gold. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, so you played hockey. Not only did you play hockey, you also, years later, I think 2016, basketball. You got into basketball too, and you were pretty good with that. I think from some of the little stuff that I found, you got a few like points in that too. And so I was kind of curious, like, were you really wanting to pursue sports? Like, was that something that you really wanted to pursue? And out of hockey and basketball, which one of those two was like, yeah, this one I love them?
It was actually, I was okay, so with hockey, I played that hockey for 6 years.
Okay.
And it was kind of like something I connected with my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like everyone was really proud of me. Mm-hmm. And so I really wanted to, like, I wasn't very good in school. I struggled a lot in school. And I thought, okay, everyone's saying I'm really good at this sport.
Right.
And it was hard because as a kid, I was really discouraged when I got cut. Mm-hmm. I got cut a couple times. And so you wonder, like, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Because I really wanted to go to university as a kid and do women's hockey.
Right.
And then once I got cut and there was no team to play on, I did basketball.
Okay.
And I've always played basketball, like, at my house. Mm-hmm. There was a point where I'd go out every day in the summer and I just play basketball on the driveway every day. Would work on it every day. And I went crazy. Like, it's weird when I think about it. I thought it was kind of an escape when things were hard. I'd just go outside and I would practice my dribbling skills. And I wanted to be able to do, like, really crazy moves that kids wouldn't be able to do. And so I did. And it was fun playing basketball, street basketball, because I would show off to the boys as a kid. Yeah. Because I could, put the ball through my legs and then do, a layup right in front of them. And so I thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
But I actually kind of struggled in sports because I don't really know why, but I had a lot of anxiety doing it. And it got to the point where if I had a game the next day, I would actually start throwing up.
Oh, wow.
A lot, and I would have to miss it because I couldn't stop.
Oh, no.
And so it was hard because I got really anxious I had this idea in my head that I had to be really good. Mm-hmm. And just, like, I think I had a fear as a kid.
Okay.
So sports just didn't work out, and maybe that was for a good reason. Mm-hmm. I don't really know why. And then it kind of turned over to music.
And so, so after your basketball tournament, you actually won gold for that one too, as well. And a year later, you did a fair share of busking around your city with your ukulele. And that was something that I thought was cool. I'm pretty sure you know this. Like, I'm not sure if you knew this, but Justin Bieber did that. He would sit on the Stratford festival, he would sit there and play his guitar, and I'm like, that was cool. Like, I've never considered doing it because I don't do something like that. I'm not able to, because a lot of my music is digital. But did you enjoy, like, what was it like? Like, did you when you were doing it, were you like, this is so cool, or were you just like, hey, just for fun?
I would say it was more for fun because I was really young.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'd like bring my friends out who don't play music and I would make them like use the drums and stuff
Right.
that I had. One day my parents drove me to Stratford because I'm a really big fan of Justin Bieber.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually more of a fan of him now than I was as a kid. But
Right.
a lot of people actually busk in Stratford. And
Okay.
so like Stratford's known for being like big in music. So I was
Yeah.
like, I want to go. So they took me to Stratford and I stood out on a busy street, like one of the busier streets in the day. And I just started singing on my ukulele with my ukulele bag out.
Okay.
And people would just, throw money in. And some people would come up to you and start talking. It's kind of funny because like when
Mm-hmm.
you're busking, you're in the middle of a song and someone just like comes up to you and just starts having a conversation with you. And you're like, okay, what the heck? I'm trying to make money here.
Yo, and then you just start
So
singing in the conversation. You just like start singing the
yeah.
conversation.
Hi, how are you? No. But it was really cool because they'd come up to me. I remember in Stratford more when people would come up to me, a couple people, and they would say, wow, this is so cool. You're really good. You need to keep doing this because you're doing this in Stratford. That's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Keep going, keep going. And I just remember that as a kid because that's really cool to hear people say that to you.
Right.
But it's funny because I got a mug from Hard FM. I don't
Yeah.
really remember why I got Hard FM, but it was for something I did,
Mm-hmm.
and I would carry it when I went busking, and I would use that as where people would put their money.
Right.
So I was promoting Hard FM for fun, and because like I'm like one day I'm gonna be on Hard FM.
And you were,
You're in
yeah.
one day, so I would carry the mug around for people to put money in.
Yeah.
But I should maybe get back at busking because that'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it's something you're performing, but no, it's just really fascinating because people will be walking,
Right.
and there's people that will actually stop and take the time out of their day
Mm-hmm.
because they want to listen to you. And I don't know, I think there's just something really rewarding out of busking.
Right. Yeah. Now I was gonna say I was gonna ask about that. Like, have you ever considered going back to that? Because that was around 2017. I'm not sure how many years you did that, but I was saying, since you have made and written all these original songs, you should maybe go out sometime in your city to do that again, because I feel like that definitely helps out. You could even like print some like brochures and like give them around, and even have like a little
Yeah.
stand with your name and your Instagram or whatever like that. I don't know, like,
Great.
yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. I think I would
Mm-hmm.
go back to doing that.
Right. In April, this is the fun thing. April 2019. That was absolutely that was a big month for you. Like just that month alone. You released according to my research, you released your first song on the internet, from what I found, called Desert. And you talked about taking a path even though you may not have a lot of hope in where you're going. And later that month, you also released two other original songs, To the End and You Have Changed. To the End is one of my personal favorites because of the story that you told in that. You talk about finding a bird and making it your friend. Just a simple story combined with poetry and instrumentation. It just creates a beautiful song. Can you kind of tell me the story behind that song in particular?
For the bird song, we
Yeah.
call it it must be my parents would go, oh, the bird song. But okay, I remember writing that song, which is funny because sometimes I don't really remember where I write a song like in the setting.
Right.
And I was in Muskoka, at my grandparents' cottage that they had at the time, and I was in the boathouse,
Okay.
which is on the water, and I had my guitar, and I was just alone in the boathouse with my guitar, and I was in grade 8 because I remember I met this person in my class who he was like my best friend or whatever. And I wanted to write a story about being different and how two people who are very different can be like that. It works when you're like, you can feel safe with someone who's kind of like you.
Right.
And just kind of talking about the relationship that I had. And for the first time feeling like I found somebody who understands me. Um, because being different can be hard sometimes, and when you find someone who's kind of like, hey, that's cool to me, and then you get along. And I want to talk about like like how at the end of the story, from what I remember, is it doesn't end up the way you want it to. And that's okay, because through that story, what I remember is I met somebody who helped me realize it's okay to be who you are.
Right.
Even though maybe we don't see each other anymore. I got to learn that part in my life. Like, that person gave me something to take with me for the rest of my life. And that it's okay that the story didn't end the way I wanted it to, because I have something more to take out of it. So yeah, I wrote a story about like one of my friends in grade 8. How wild is that?
Yeah, no, I that song is like really cool. Like, listening through, I'm like, it sounds like, I don't know how to describe it, but it sounds a bit different than what you were making now. Maybe a bit more like upbeat. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but it just sounded different.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it is a very different one than I would write. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was
definitely
really cool.
Like my grade 8 writing, because like I was really into poetry in grade 8, and I love metaphors. I still do, honestly. But no, that was definitely like my style of writing then.
Yeah, and I was listening to it, and I know the ukulele. I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of all genres, but I enjoy in particular lo-fi, which I'm not sure if I've learned that not a lot of people know what lo-fi is. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure if you do, but it's like lo-fi. I'm like, ukulele is very prominent in lo-fi, and I'm like, you could make that song, and you could definitely expand onto it. Like, it could be like one of those study songs, and that's what I thought. That song was really cool. And so
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And moving on, after you uploaded a song called "You've Changed" online, the next day after you uploaded it was the big day for you. Like, I feel like it would have been the biggest day of your life. You sang the national anthem for both Canada and the United States at the Blue Jays game. I was actually there. I learned that I went to one of the Woodstock games with my dad like twice, and I swear, that was that one. I went there that one time.
No way.
Yeah. I don't remember it. Like, I remember somebody singing. I remember it was like a young person.
My dad sang the year before.
Yeah. No, it was a young person the time I went.
Maybe it was my dad.
It might have been.
How long was that?
It must have been 2018, because I remember that team was playing, and it was like, and I said it was a younger person singing. I'm like, oh, yeah, but that was a big day for you, like, and I was sitting here like, how, I don't know the American national anthem. How on earth did you, like, study that as well? Like, did you know it at a young age? Like,
no, I didn't. I had to practice very hard, and my dad did it, I'm pretty sure the year before me. He sang the anthems at the Blue Jays game. So he had helped me kind of go through the process of how to do it.
Right.
But no, I had really hard for that, because you only have a certain amount of time.
Right.
So you actually don't sing the song the way you would. You have to be really fast.
Oh, wow.
So it's funny, because when I was practicing the anthems, I watched, I'm a really big fan of Whitney Houston, and I was when I was really young too. So I had watched this video on YouTube of Whitney Houston performing the anthem, I think at a football game.
Right.
Probably was a big deal. It's bad that I don't remember, but
no worries.
It's funny because it just like is now released on like Apple of Whitney Houston's recording of that, and I think that's so cool now, because I like found that they just kind of released it as like just like they cut it short and then released on Apple like recently, which is hilarious, because a couple years ago I was watching that video and practicing with her. I was inspired by the way she sang it, and that's how I wanted to sing kind of with my own style for the national anthems. Yeah.
Right. No, that's a really cool story to hear, like, finding something before, it's released like publicly, I guess, on major platforms. Would you say that this was your first time? I couldn't really find anything else, but was this your first time performing in an audience, you know, like, yeah, just in an audience in general. I'm not sure if you did a lot of plays when you were younger. Like, I went to a private
I
school,
did.
so I don't really know what happens in an elementary school, like, you know. So,
I went to a private school as well, and
okay.
then grade 7 and 8, I was in public school. But I did K to K,
Oh,
which
yes.
is a theater my
Yeah.
parents run, and so I did a lot of performing. I did performing. Even sports is like performing,
Mhm.
and I've done performing in piano, singing. I'm trying to think other things, but I have done a lot of. I've per, I've performed my whole life,
Right.
for many different things. So, but I would say that the Blue Jays game was probably my first biggest audience
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Were you nervous? Like, you must have been nervous. Like, what was going through, like, what was going through your mind, like, when you're walking out there, like, and they announce your name or whatever, like.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I think going through like this guy's like leading you out, and then you're like kind of like, I think like you're just like waiting on the side of the field. That was like when I was like, okay, this is happening.
Mhm.
And it was funny because you get interviewed before you go out.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
like you're already really nervous, and then there's this guy up in your face for like asking you questions. And so and you're like,
Yeah.
like I'm about to go out there and sing. Like, why are you doing this? But then you go out, and I think kind of in my head was like, I just have to nail it. I have to do it.
Right.
I'm gonna do it. And
Right.
that's kind of the way I do things. I'm like, I'm just gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. Like, I can do this. Like, and
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
I'm definitely the type of person to, after I do a performance, that's when it hits me.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
that's like when I sit down and I'm shaking, because I kind of just processed what just happened, because I go into this mode of like, I practiced for this, and now I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then after I realized, oh, I just did that.
Yeah. It's same
So
with
I
me.
was kind
Yeah.
of, yeah.
Yeah. No. What were you gonna say? You were gonna say something else?
I was kind of nervous though, like definitely like doing it, and then like in the corner of my eye, I remember just seeing the screen, and I was just like,
Oh.
my face on the screen, and I'm like, oh, that's so intense.
Oh no. Yeah. That must be like, that's crazy. That must be so awkward. You're just like, oh,
It is,
look, there's
but you
me.
just kind of ignore it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, but
It's interesting that you mentioned, like, you know, you do it and then you're like, wow, you take it all. And that was kind of like, when you mentioned that, kind of the same for me. Like, a year ago, I would have a lot of like internet icons. I mean, by icons is people that you may recognize them from something like a meme or like something like that. Remember, I was sitting down with a guy by the name of Big Man Tyrone. People would pay him money to like say stuff. There was a meme that blew up called "Every 60 seconds in Africa, a minute passes." It's just him sitting there, and I'm like sitting here like talking with him, and he's talking about his whole like life story. And when you're done, you're like, I just talked with that guy who, you know,
yeah,
it's such a big internet meme. Like, it's huge, and you're just sitting here like you just talked with him like for like an hour, and you just take it
yeah, it
all
hits
in.
you. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, so after in May, you posted a quote. This is what I thought was interesting. You posted a quote from your song "Bring It On," but it wasn't until January 2020 when you released the official audio to YouTube. And I was curious, like, how long were you writing "Bring It On"? Because it was only May. It was like May 2019, and you mentioned like in one of your posts, like a quote, one of the lyrics. I'm like, hey, what's that about?
I think I released the quote because I wrote the song and I finished it, and actually no, that's a lie. I finished half the song in one sitting, and then when I went to record it with a family friend, he has like kind of a little mini studio in his house, and I'd go over there just to record my songs.
Right.
And when I did that, that's when I was like, oh, I need a second verse.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll just write it right now. And they're like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And I wrote it, and then I recorded it.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I released a little bit of the quote of my Bring It On song
Right.
because I hadn't fully finished it.
Right.
But that's, even though that song is I feel like some people like it, some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that song's going to go anywhere, but that's actually one of my favorite songs that I wrote.
Yeah, no, and it's really good. Yeah, listening to that one a few
Thank you.
times. Yeah, you should, if you like it, gotta release it as a single sometime. That's one I'm like,
I
yeah.
love the song. I think it's just empowering, and like when I wrote it, it was so. I remember like kind of I was alone and I was playing on my piano, and what I remember is just more, and that was it. Kind of just hit me, and I was kind of like crying, and it was like
Yeah.
it was big for me. And then yeah, it's so cool that I like that song a lot.
Yeah,
But
no, it's a good one. And the following month, you uploaded another song, you called "You Believe," which was another personal favorite. Listening through, I don't know why, but that song in particular reminded me a lot like the popular like guitar songs that played in the radio growing up. Like in movies, like the ones like that were around when I was younger and you were younger. Like it just kind of like it sounded like that. I'm like, it sounds kind of
yeah,
cool. Yeah, and that song was that song. Did that song take a while for you to write, or was that a quick one that you put together?
I believe that was a quick one I put together because I like to just sit down, and then when I just start writing a story, and then that's how I used to write. Now it's more like I'm gonna really take my time, but
Yeah,
back then it'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna do this, and I kind of just naturally can do that.
right,
So that believed was one of those.
right.
Yes.
In October, you had another opportunity to perform live. I'm not sure if this was the first time for you performing a original song live. At least this is what I could find the earliest date. But you, in October, went to a Toronto Artist Expo. Now, by the way, I couldn't find anything about Toronto Artist Expo online. I have no idea what it is,
Really?
and it's like I want to know because that sounds really cool. But you had the opportunity to play there. Can you like tell me a bit about that? Like, what is Toronto Artist Expo, and what were you doing there, and like what was this whole thing?
So my mom found it online. Who knows how my mom found it,
Mm-hmm.
but she did. And there was going to be producers, managers, mixers, everything.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to be there, and they were going to share how to become an artist in this, like these coming years, and how to be successful, and what you need and what you want.
Right.
And I learned a lot. I think my dad learned a lot too for me, kind of, because I was young. I call it my team because they are my team. With me, there's four of us. We went because you actually have to buy tickets to go. We stayed at a condo, and I think it was a 3-day thing from what I remember.
Okay. That sounds like a vibe.
And you go and you hear from a couple people, and one of the guest speakers was Rick Barker.
Okay.
And he's a manager. Well, he used to be a manager, and is now. I actually really like he's online, and he shares to small artists how to become what you want.
Right.
He's actually very brilliant in how he works.
Right.
And he knows a lot about the industry, so it was really cool to kind of hear from this guy.
Yeah.
And then everyone performs kind of some of their originals. It wasn't my first time performing an original, but I think that was the first time I actually sang the song wrong, and that's when the song changed, because people liked that I sang it different. And it was because it was the first time I think I ever done something kind of like that.
Right.
Because I was really nervous. I just remember that I was very nervous for that one. That was really scary because it's a bunch of different artists, and and I was pretty young, so yeah. But it was really cool to hear other artists from like all over. Like some were from Toronto, some were from Barrie, some were like they're kind of like all over the place, and they all came here to just learn what I learned.
Yeah.
And so it was very cool. And you're constantly advertising yourself. It was a whole thing, but it was a great experience. But yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that sounds amazing. And I think that's a great thing to go to. You know, when you're starting out, just anything like related to that, because it would probably help you out a lot with your music, and probably did help you out a lot with your music
yeah,
going to that.
yes, it did.
Um, yeah, you actually did later on, which I'll probably talk later on. You actually you went through a course on music as well. But I'll mention that later on because I have a whole little list here thing. Um, in January 2020, you started off your year. You released "Bring It On your YouTube. That's my number one favorite. Like out of all of them, my number one favorite of yours. "Bring It On" talks about standing up and being strong. You know, what inspired you to write about this topic? And was this song about a personal trouble, or was it something you had been going through at the time?
So that song is kind of about a person, and it was about something that I had gone through my whole life and was going through at the
Right.
time. And I kind of just sat down and I kind of thought, I want to write about something so people can understand why this hurts so much. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where it came from. And I was kind of talking about how, you know, you can't hurt me anymore because I am stronger, I'm older, and I
Mm-hmm.
realize who I am. Like, you can't hurt me anymore. So bring it on kind of is like the thing, and
Yeah.
then obviously it turns into a whole other thing. And
Right.
what I like about that song is I think a lot of people can listen to it and they can relate to it in their own personal way. And that's why I love that song, because I feel like everyone can relate to that maybe, and it can be
Yeah.
empowering for people, which is what I want, is for people to say, hey, like, I am strong, I can do this,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they may be facing.
Yeah, and that's a great theme for that song in particular. And I was wondering about this verse, and just the reason why you wrote it in particular. You wrote down one of the verses. I was born for this revenge, and I was wondering, was it because someone had done wrong to you, or were you writing it in more of a figurative sense? Just that verse in particular stood out. I'm like, I don't know.
I know, I don't like that verse is, I wrote that when I wrote Bring It On, I wanted it to feel, when you listen to it, I wanted it to make people's stomach turn. I wanted it to
Right.
feel kind of scary and kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of like, I don't know how to
Right.
explain it, but I wanted that uncomfortable feeling because that's how I was feeling. I wanted that song to
Mm-hmm.
represent something. Oh, and the song's not supposed to be like comfortable. It's not supposed to be like you're gonna listen to it, like, oh, okay, whatever. I want them
Right.
to feel it, and so that's why I wrote those lyrics. This is the revenge line that I wrote. I think it wasn't me getting back. It was me
Right.
more standing up for myself, was the revenge, because
Right. That makes a lot more
yeah,
sense. Yeah, and so you said, let me see here. After its release in January, for Bring It On, you entered a CBC Searchlight. That was 2020. You also entered the 2021 later on with this song, and you finally got your interview on Hard FM. And what was that? Were you happy? Were you excited, or was it something that you kind of like forgot about?
no, that was cool. I've had actually a couple interviews with Hard FM. I've been like the newspaper for like random things, I believe, too.
Yeah.
So no, I love working with. I think it's cool to go do an interview with Hard FM, and I always have a great experience, and I'm always very excited because kind of in the back of my mind, my dream is one day Hard FM is going to be playing my songs. So it's,
Yeah.
how cool is this that I can look back on it one day, like, I just have a dream. So I love when I get to do an interview with Hard FM.
And you talked about a lot of different things in that interview, and you mentioned Elvis. And I'm not sure if this still applies now. But from the looks of it, you seem to be a die-hard Elvis fan. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but out of all the artists that you appreciate, Elvis.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite Elvis song? What I thought before I asked that, what I thought was interesting is I actually listened to a bit of Elvis when I was starting out music, which is kind of funny. On my dad's computer, there was a Elvis album. It was all his gospel songs, and it was
Yes.
like a full album. And it was on my dad's computer. I was like 11 or 12. I'm just sitting in there like putting together loops. Oh no! And I ended up like remixing. I was trying to remix one of the Elvis songs, and it wasn't good. It was a lot of kick, and it was not good at all. But like, what was your favorite Elvis song?
My favorite Elvis song wasn't written by him. It was actually a cover he
Okay.
did, basically. And it's My Way. And I know Frank Sinatra sings it as well, but I
Right.
love the way Elvis sings it because I feel like it did relate to his life. And that song
Right.
is played at funerals too. Like I did
It
it my
is. Yeah.
way. And I think it's a beautiful song. And when Elvis sings it, there's just something different to me when I hear it. I feel like I can feel him actually singing it. But
Hmm.
I've been an Elvis fan since I was a kid, and that's kind of it was kind of an outlet for me. Um,
Right.
and I think I talk about that in some other interviews. And
Hmm.
I've continued to love Elvis. I listen to a lot of records on my record, and I have a lot of vinyls of Elvis. I think I have too many. It's kind of funny. I'm like, say to my
Yeah.
friends, "Yo, if you ever want to borrow a vinyl of Elvis, I got six." So, and funny thing you brought up his gospel album. I actually am very proud to say that I have that on vinyl. I have his
Oh,
gospel
let's
album,
go.
and I love
Let's go. That album is so
it.
good.
Is good, and people don't. I feel like people my age or my friends they don't listen to that kind of music, but
Oh yeah.
listening
Oh yeah, I get that.
yeah, listening to that on like just the record is really cool. I love gospel music, and my
Oh
love for
yes.
gospel music definitely came from Elvis and Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate gospel music.
In your interview, you also mentioned having a rough year in grade 9. Can you kind of explain, if you want to, some of the things that you went through and how you were able to withstand the struggles? I was I didn't go to grade 9 when I left my private school and went to online school, so I didn't really deal with the problems that high school gives. But being in elementary school, it was definitely a pain. Like it was like very very small, and there was only like four guys there that I knew, and it was like constant bullying, I guess. Like just like going home and like crying and just like this is so stupid. Like I can't do this anymore. Like it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm very happy that I was raised in a Christian home and I had like my parents who were there, because like I feel like for me, if I wasn't in that atmosphere, I would have probably been suicidal, to
Yeah.
say the least. But like I wasn't, and I'm kind of curious to hear about your struggle, because you were in high school. What was that like? How did you withstand all these troubles that entered your path?
Well, I struggled with a lot of different things. I definitely struggled with mental health in grade 9 and
Mm-hmm.
continued to. I struggled with make. I think I had friends, but friends that weren't into.
Mm-hmm.
I had friends who were into drugs, friends who struggled with addiction.
Yeah.
Um, I had friends who probably weren't going to class, skipping a lot. Started
Mm-hmm.
skipping. I stopped caring about my grades. And then I got to the point where I didn't even care about anything anymore. Um, and so grade 9 was hard because I also struggled with teachers and getting along with teachers. Um, and yeah, just a lot of different things were going on. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of like anxiety around going into grade 9 because it was different for me.
Right.
But it's wild because when I look back, I can't really remember a lot of what happened.
Right.
But how I kind of got through it was definitely my mom. My mom definitely helped
Mm-hmm.
me get through that. My mom was a big advocate for me and helped me
Mm-hmm.
through school and helped me get through my classes and made things work for me. And she always pushed me and was always there for me. And I think that's the reason I got through it. Honestly, I don't think it was anything that I did. It was my mom.
And that's really great to hear, like, because it's definitely a struggle to like be in like the school and just in that whole situation, because nobody knows who you are and you don't know anybody else, and so it's
No.
like, and it's like you got to be around the right people. Like for me growing up, I raised in a Christian home. You know, my school was Christian private school, and so I never really dealt with hanging around the wrong people. But you know, growing up, I'm a homeschooler. I do online school. Been doing it for like how many years? I don't know, like many years. And like, you know, starting to be in, like, talk to people online, there's definitely a lot of different friend groups, you know, like, oh, this group does that, this group does that. And for me, you definitely got to be careful who you're with. And you know, for me, I was able to just be in these different friend groups and listen to what they're saying and just kind of like just stand there and listen in and just kind of, get to know them, but not be like them, I guess. If that
Yes.
makes sense with you.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is definitely a red flag when you realize that you're the person that is you're the person for other people that they're thinking I'm hanging out with the wrong people, and you know
Yeah.
that you got to change and that something's not right. So I definitely felt like
Yeah.
that in grade 9. Like going into grade 10, I was like felt. I think I was really alone in grade 10 because it kind of was like I just shut everyone out, because I felt
Yeah.
like maybe I was the person that nobody like you don't want to hang out with. But I've definitely
Yeah.
grown and I've grown in many different areas, and
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and that's really good. On a more like happy upbeat note, this is something that I thought was interesting. I learned this like a few weeks ago, when I was like done. Like I was like, oh, I'm done doing research. I've already done so much, but I thought this was cool for me at least. And it was just so weird, but also so cool at the same time. You do singing, got a nice, amazing voice, and
Thank
you
you.
know piano and all that, but you also did a bit of rap.
Oh no.
You did a bit of rap, hey, and so I'm like, that's actually really impressive. I was like, wow, not only do you sing, but you also do rap,
Oh
and you tried to
no.
do rap. I know it wasn't probably serious, it was just for fun, but it was good. Have you ever considered, aside from all the few times that you did, I think it was like twice, have you ever considered like doing something with it? Because
Yeah.
listening through, I'm like, I know it's all for it's probably all for just for fun, but like I appreciate spoken word. I'm not sure if you're knowledgeable. I'm not sure
I know.
if
Yes.
you've heard Christian spoken word, but like I
Yes.
listen to a lot of artists who do spoken word, and they're poets, they're pastors, and like they rap, and it's like it. Have you ever considered doing that? 'Cause I really think it'd be really cool if you experimented with this. If you like made a song with spoken word, rapping, and singing all collectively in one song, just showing all your different skills. That would be really cool to listen to.
I've always really wanted. I want to do that eventually, but I do make joking rap songs, like funny
Mm-hmm.
ones for my family and
Right.
stuff. And I actually like get asked to on the side. I had like a gig where people would like ask me to write them for their like family members, because
Oh
people
wow.
thought it was so funny, and like I would do it as a joke. But before that, I didn't like actually wrote up things, and no, like if I was doing it, like if I was being serious about like when I did rap or posting it, like
Yeah.
I love I actually do love rapping, but I also get really insecure about it because not a lot of
Mm-hmm.
what bothers me in the rap industry for females is, you know, you got Nicki Minaj, Cardi B,
Yeah.
but it's so rare to see a female NF. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I. That's interesting that you mentioned that. I actually there's a Christian, a female Christian rapper I listen to. One of the only artists I listen to that's actually female. I'll show you after the show.
Okay,
I think you might appreciate it.
I probably would.
I always show people these artists with the I'm like, they're not gonna listen to them. They're just gonna check. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. They're not gonna listen to it, but I think that you might like it. Her name is Jackie Hill Perry. She is a she's a female rapper. But yeah, I'll show it to you after. But yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that. Like, it's hard to find female rappers out there.
Yeah, like none of those like girls are like they're not famous or anything, and that I think that's so annoying because like the women that are famous are talking about sex, drugs, and getting
Yeah.
guys, and it's like I want to hear, like, you know how NF or other rappers, they can talk more deeper into their life or things that they're struggling with or what other people are struggling with. There are female rappers doing that. They're not getting the credit that they deserve.
Right.
And like, I want that to grow, and I think that would be so cool. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to do something like that with singing. So I definitely like get insecure, like, about talking about rapping, because it's the fear of, are people gonna take me serious? Are people gonna, are they gonna think that like I'm a wannabe or whatever? No, like, this is just me rap. Like, this is how I like to do my. To me, rapping is more poetry.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I love about it. Like, I love Tupac, and I love reading his poetry. He actually has a book on just his poetry.
Really?
He used to write poetry, and I definitely recommend that book to anybody. You can learn a lot about not only his life story, but about women in his community and in that time who were struggling. And it's just he has good poetry.
That's awesome.
Even in his own writing, like, even in his rap songs, there's some good poetry.
Right.
So that's one of my favorite rappers, actually. That's where I grew. That's where I like am inspired to write about certain things within poetry. So yeah.
Yeah.
But where was I going? I kind of got off track.
No worries. Yeah, no, we were just talking about that. I thought it was interesting talking about insecure. Like, when I was younger, I loved ghostwriting. I just ghostwrite stuff. I'm like, I hate my voice with a brewing passion. I absolutely hate it. And I do love making voices up though. Like, I'll show you that after, because people are like, oh, what voices can you do? Like, I love doing voices. And like, growing up, I did feel confident about doing a rap. I put together a album last year, and I made it known, no, this is not something I'm going to continue doing. It's just an experiment. I made a whole comedy album called Bruh Meme, and I like rapped on all those songs. But like, over time I felt a bit more confident about it. I'm still wanting to practice my voice. I don't like singing, but I love rapping and I love ghostwriting. That's something I want to do. Let me see here. This is something else. So, what on earth is the Wilma dance? You may help me give me some more information on that. I'm not sure if you know what the Wilma dance is, but I saw that somewhere in my research. I'm not sure if you know about the Wilma dance.
No. Okay, so my family friends, who are basically my family, I call her like my second mom.
Right.
And her name's Wilma, and she's very quirky, and everyone loves Wilma, but she's very quirky, and I think that's what we all love about her. And she loves to dance when no one's looking, and sometimes when people are looking. And she just does this little dance thing that is really funny, and it's been our kind of like our joke for years. And it's a very weird dance.
Yeah.
Who knows if it's gonna go viral? I don't know. We used to think that it's like the floss, but a whole different thing.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, what's the Wilma dance? Remember, I was at work, and I'm looking up on Google the Wilma dance, and nothing's coming up. There was like this old 2012 video on 12 years ago, not 2012, 12 years ago was this video, of a grainy video on YouTube of this lady at a Walmart, and it's the Wilma dance, and what is, I have no idea where I'm at right now, but yeah, that helps a lot. I thought it'd be kind of funny to mention that, because you're like, how on earth do you know that?
That is funny.
But yeah, the same month, you released another original song on your YouTube called Never Stop Loving You. In this song, you talk about how you miss somebody and how you wanted to, and I wanted to hear more about the song and the story behind it. Listening through a few times, it sounds like you lost somebody important to you. And so I was kind of curious, for this song in particular, Never Stop Loving You, what's kind of the story behind that one?
That's the one where it was like a short one, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Well, I remember writing that song, and it's kind of just talking about a relationship that didn't work out. And yeah, it kind of just talks about how you won't ever stop loving that person, and that they still mean a lot to you, but it's time to move on to the next chapter in your life, because they've already maybe moved on without you.
No, yeah, and that song was a good one. I'm not sure. Yeah, that was on YouTube. That was one of the earlier original songs. I was listening through that a few times, oh, that was a good one. I like that. And I learned, yeah, as I said, your goodbye was older than I expected. In May 2020, you had actually uploaded the song to your YouTube. But soon after, you privated it, and you had the opportunity to play the song live on Talent Nation Rise. And was that a fun experience? I'm not sure if that was your first time performing a song online.
That was a cool experience. It might have actually been my first time performing online. It was really cool. Yeah, no, I like that. That was fun.
Yeah, and you had another contest or whatever you entered. You won the Oxford Talent Show 2020. I found it hard to find that video because it's on YouTube somewhere. I was able to track it down, but like I was reading on the news like what your guys' reaction was to it, but like what was it like? Like getting your like did you think you were going to win? Did you have any idea that you were going to win, or do you just like what was it
No,
like?
I did. I thought I was, because I was the last. I'm pretty sure I was the last person they played,
Right.
and so I had like no idea, and so it was pretty funny though that like it was like kind of wild. It was like, oh, and then we all like were like screaming because it was like, wait, what? That's crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun.
And you had like your name on like the billboards, not billboard, like one of like the little electronic signs here in the city. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's cool. That must be so like neat having that.
it is very neat. It's really cool to see like your community like saying your name and stuff and like wanting to support you.
Yeah,
That's always a really good feeling.
I feel like that's every creator's wish is to like have that recognition or just something. I've always struggled like when it's starting out, I'm like it was just for fun, but as I got older, I'm like, I'd love to meet more people here in my city. I don't go to any of the high schools, so I'm like, how do I do that? But like I feel like this year I want to be able to meet a lot more people here in my city to do music. And yeah, it's crazy. Let me see. Oh yeah, so this is what I was talking about before. You mentioned on your social media that you had the privilege of being granted the opportunity to do an artist improvement masterclass. How did that turn out for you?
It was really cool. I did a couple projects in it, and it's basically like you're in a Facebook group, but it's taught through these videos.
Right.
And then he gives you a project, and then you have to complete it and then post it in the group. And I definitely learned a lot out of it. And you meet a lot of different artists and what they're doing and where they are in their life
Right.
and in their career, I mean. And it's really cool. So I definitely love that experience because you're working on something that you're working on your craft.
Right.
Like it wasn't like I was working on something that wasn't going to be helping me. I was basically working on my own thing,
Right.
doing a class. So it was different. It was really cool
Yeah.
getting that opportunity to work with. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, and would you say that that helped you like it gave you some information that you've applied now?
For sure. I would say like promoting, I learned skills through social media
Right.
and marketing and be and kind of I think like it was really cool about the classes. You learned a lot about yourself as well. You learned about what you want, what do you really like. Questions are like, what do you really want out of your career?
Right.
And it was, the focus was more on like, if you want to be successful, you have to realize it's not about you.
Right. Yeah.
And I think learning those things and understanding those things were beneficial to me.
Yeah. And that's important. I've never done something like that before, but I feel like that would be very, very good to go through a course like that to help you out. And you remember, I remember you mentioned before how this most recent CBC Searchlight, that was one of your favorite ones. And I was looking through an interview about that. What stood out was you said you needed a chorus to make it click. It took a while to write the song. What inspired you was mostly hearing you started hearing chords in your head. And for me, I'm not sure if this is the same for you, but like I'm just like at work, doing my thing, and I'm humming. I'm just like I'm thinking, and I come up with like a melody, and I have to quickly record it on my phone because I will forget it. And I have like all these different like melodies in my head, like different songs that I have yet to put together, like some of them like involving lyrics and singing. Does this happen to you as well, or is it something totally different?
I would say yes and no. I can, it's really kind of weird. I can sit down and I could play piano and I can hear I close my eyes and I can hear violins playing. I can hear drums playing. I can hear everything that I want the song to sound like, almost like I'm listening to a band.
Right.
And that kind of helps me figure out what I want in a song and where I want to take it. If I were to ever add more instruments or more voices over top of that, which is like, I know it sounds weird, but it works.
Yeah.
And what I do is like I'll play chords, and when I listen to the chords, I hear a story, and I kind of wait and I listen and I wait, kind of almost like God's going to show me the way and how I'm going to write this song. God's going to help me, direct me into what I need to write to help other people who are going to be listening to this song.
Right.
And what he wants me to write. And I would just sit there and I would listen to what God's telling me through these chords. Because through me playing these chords, it's telling me a story. I'm not sure what the story is yet, but I'm going to keep listening. And for the song Goodbye, which is what I believe I was talking about in that interview, that's what it was for me. It was just listening until I realized this is what this chorus needs to be.
And so just like looking through all this, through all these years, you've created so many original songs. Like as I said, roughly 10 that I could find. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool to wrap the interview just to talk about this. It's going to be definitely difficult for me to formulate this question because it's just so different. But I know for you like specific things, like vintage print, urban style, like, primarily in clothes like hoodies, jeans, and jackets. And you also enjoy like old time rock and R&B, soul, pop, and even rap music as well. And you enjoy the way listening to it, like on records and things like that. And I was curious, all these different mediums of art, do you enjoy these because, one, you grew up with them, like your parents would like play it for you and that's the reason why you like it? Or do you appreciate it because, nowadays people our age are like taking things out like records and hanging them up on their room for aesthetic purposes only? I was kind of curious to see, is it a mix of both? Do you appreciate these forms of medium, from like designs and clothes to music, just because you grew up with it, or do you enjoy it because it's kind of in a style?
That's a hard question because I think sometimes I feel like I'm basic, but it's funny because in my head, I don't think there's anything wrong with being basic. I think it's kind of fun because, you see what's in style and you're like, yo, I like Birkenstocks. I think I'm going to get some. That's basic, but I like them because it's new to you and you see it. And if you like it, you're going to get it, right? Because I didn't know about Birkenstocks 5 years ago until they were a thing. And that's when I wanted it. So I feel like there's a reason why we're always so basic, if that makes sense. But I'm also like interested in like, I'm definitely into street fashion. I have always been into street fashion, which I don't think people know that about me. But I always kind of loved it, but definitely shied away from it because I liked more of, it was just different at the time. But now that I have these great friends and they're really into fashion and designing and redesigning, and it's definitely encouraged me and inspired me to just be who I am and in the way I dress. Definitely more comfortable in it. And I'm back and forth in fashion because I love wearing like a baggy hoodie, and then the next day I want to wear a suit. And so I'm definitely back and forth, but that's what I love about it, is because it makes up kind of part of who I am. And it's funny though, because like my aesthetic would definitely be like, I listen to records, but I also use older records that are no longer in use to make something beautiful like art. And that it's not, like, I'm just into different things like that. And I definitely like, part of my art is inspired through gaming. I'm actually like really into gaming. I don't know if people know that about me, actually.
Animal Crossing, right? I think it's Animal Crossing.
I love Animal Crossing, of course, but I'm really into Switch, which some people may not call that gaming, but it definitely is gaming in my world. And I'm actually kind of thinking of saving up for PC. We're gonna see though.
Oh, let's go. Yo, that's actually interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I love gaming. It's kind of like a little outlet for me besides music.
Yeah.
And I love the art of indie games. So
Oh,
the
yes.
past like 2 years, indie games have definitely inspired my art and Japanese style as well through gaming.
Right.
So I think that like in the next 2 years, that's definitely gonna make a turn in my art style and what I
Hmm.
like. But yeah, it's I'm
Oh,
kind
that's
of all over the
awesome.
place. Every day it's a different thing.
No, I was just curious about that because I know that you appreciate a lot of things that I feel like the younger our generation right now doesn't really appreciate.
That's a good point. Like something that I think is really unique and what I always love to think about is when somebody wants to share an artist or a song with you, listen to it. Because the only reason they're sharing it with you is because they're
Hmm.
either passionate about it or they feel like this
Yeah.
will help you. And I think it's really important that we make that like that's a way of
Hmm.
connecting with people. And when a friend wants to show you something like that, I always love to just take that
Yeah.
time and listen because they're trying to tell you something important. And it's just like if they were talking to you, but they're saying it through music. And that's a way I love to
Right.
communicate with people. So I think that like even if you don't want
Hmm.
to listen to it, like I definitely recommend to everybody in your relationships, take that time when somebody sends you a song on messages, whether it's something silly or not, listen to it because they're
Right.
trying to tell you something. And I love that. I love
Right.
that way of communication. And I think through meeting people, I feel like you're gonna find those friends who connect that way and some who don't, and that's okay too. But I love having friends who are like where you just
Yeah.
connect in music. I have friends who connect with me through ABBA. I have friends who connect with me through rap music, and then others who connect with me through more
Yeah.
90s music. And it's kind of all over the place because everyone
Hmm. Oh,
has their
yeah.
own taste. So I think it's just fun. And I like if someone's gonna show you a song like in the car,
Hmm.
let them show you because I what I do with my friends, I have a group of friends and they were basically they when I first met them, they play like all these old music songs like and they listen to like Britney Spears and Lady Gaga's stuff. And like I was like, okay, this
Hmm.
is interesting. They really like this sound. And so now that's what I listen to now all the time because
Right.
it makes me think of them. And that's why music's so special because I'll play a song that maybe my grandma listens to and that's what reminds me of her.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just like communicating through music so
Yeah.
cool.
No.
I don't know. But I definitely recommend like someone's gonna show you a song,
Yeah.
take the time and listen because it's
Yeah.
so
And I feel
important.
like for me at least, I kind of heard there, everybody has their own, like, their own things, like their own music. I feel like for when I showed mine, whenever I showed it, I showed a lot of the songs that, I didn't really dive deep into the Christian hip hop I listened to and why it's so different than the stuff now. When I introduced myself earlier, a lot of Christian hip hop I listen to, is, as I said, is the older style, but they dive deep. Like you have full on songs. Like I think the longest one I have is like 17 minutes. And I don't even listen to the entire thing, but it's like they dive deep into like the Bible and the scriptures, and they're literally word by word taking passages of the Bible, and they're talking about hot topics and things like that over a reasonably good beat. And I'm playing it in the car. I'm like, listen to this, and it's a story, and you're listening to it, but they're not really used to that. They're more used to like the auto tune, like the really hype stuff. And I'm just sitting here showing them like, you know, an old school song, and it's got like a cool passage. But yeah, I feel like nowadays the style has changed, and so it's kind of hard for people like us to like show
Connect
other
our
people.
own.
Yeah, connect.
No, for sure. Like it's like no one's gonna want to sit down with me and listen to Elvis's gospel music and have like a real moment.
Yes.
It's hard to find those people, but I mean, yeah, I think that like when we appreciate like how we can appreciate other like if I show that I appreciate my friend's music, then they can maybe see that, oh, I'm gonna show Anna that I appreciate her music too, and that we
Hmm.
can combine the two. And like that's what I do with my friends now. Like we all mix our different tastes in music, and we made like one big playlist because we love to jive around, and that's kind of how we connect with each other. Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
it's music's a beautiful thing.
It is. Yes, it is. It's so crazy the amount of stuff that you can find out there. But yeah, I feel like that's all the questions that I had. But thank you so much for coming on the show. Really
Thank you so much
appreciate
for
the
having me.
the conversation. yeah, so it was awesome. Let me see, but yeah, if you guys, I'll leave in the description below some of the stuff there where you can check Anna's things. But yeah, you guys have a great rest of your day.